silence. You guys are so well behaved. Welcome to Chatham Square Library if you've never been here before. This is a really, really special night. For those of you who have been to some of these author programs that we have, we run an Asian American Authors in Conversation program, of which our friend Henry here was one of the first people to do it. So he's an OG in so many ways. And so we are going to start this Chinatown beatdown conversation with just me and Henry. I have to say, so this beautiful library is nestled in the heart of Chinatown in some ways. And so I often come up here when there's no programs and stare out the windows here and look at the rooftops and imagine Henry's books going through there, because so many of his books end up on the rooftops for some reason. So there's a lot to get through tonight, so I'm just going to start by asking Henry one important question, which is, he writes these amazing mystery and fiction, thriller, detective books that are so, you feel Chinatown, and it feels so real. It's like, how do you weave the truth with the fiction?
First, let me thank Sean Ferguson and the New York Public Library and the library staff, everybody involved. Support your local libraries.
Yes.
Come on in. It's good to see everybody here tonight. All the usual suspects are here.
Sure, you sure you want to use the word suspects right now?
Let me rephrase that, Your Honor.
Person of interest.
Thank you. So, I want to talk tonight about why I wrote these stories. I wrote these stories a long time ago because I thought they were important, because they shed some light on how people who actually lived in Chinatown, what they experienced. And I realized then that these are not the kind of things that the good people of the neighborhood want to write about. Because I was wondering how come nobody's written these stories. When I first discovered this world, I was fascinated. So I said, how come nobody's writing these stories? And of course, it dawned upon me later that nobody wants to talk about the shame of their community. Nobody wants to talk about crime. So tonight we're presenting this not as glorifying anything that's criminal or illegal, but in terms of Chinatown culture and history. So that's the angle which we're looking at it tonight. And we're fortunate to have two gentlemen over there. We're going to talk about that later. That's Michael Moy and Peter Chin. Some of you may have known them by other names, but we can get to that later. So first, I think, any more questions about why I wrote these stories? And so I found out early on, nobody wanted to, when I first started showing these manuscripts around, nobody liked them. They were roundly rejected by every publishing house in Manhattan. And the reason why was, their explanation was that this wasn't the Chinatown that we knew. This wasn't, the cheap food, the exotic gift shops, the culture. Once in a while you would get something on Chinese New Year's or the Mooncake Festival, but you wouldn't get much in the mainstream media about Chinatown, except on the crime blotter you might get a sentence here, a sentence there, somebody shot somebody, couldn't get the names right. So I realized this and I went down to these places that I hadn't been familiar with, places like the gambling houses and the other places that you go to at night, the bars, and all those other places. And I found it fascinating, so that's where these stories come from. So let me just do some reading.
Please.
This is from my first book. And this is called Night Rider. Johnny Wong pulled the black car over onto the sidewalk halfway down the narrow street, territory of the hip chings. It was 9 in the evening, and before he could kill the engine, they appeared. That stocky mustached man they called Uncle Four, and his fragile Hong Kong lady, Mona. They were in the car before he could get out and open the door, the man motioning to him with a jerk of his hand. "Lotus Blossom Club," said Uncle Four. The lady was silent as Johnny drove off, wondering about her, passing through the 9 neon-lit blocks in the rainy Chinatown night. Uncle Four never said another word until they arrived. "Come back 11th, he said. Mona followed him out and then down into the karaoke nightclub, never glancing back. When they were out of view, Johnny slammed the steering wheel hard, pausing for a long moment before urging the car away. "What to you, they don't know how you get, motherfucker." And soon enough, the chopping sound of windshield wipers brought him around to East Broadway, that lower part of town where the radio car boys gathered and gossiped away the dead ends of their evenings. They ate and slept and breathed Chinese, these expatriates, and they watched Chinese movies, shopped Chinatown supermarkets, and got laid in Chinatown rub joints. The laundromat attendant, the bank cashier, the locksmith, the mailman, all spoke Chinese. The vocabulary of the car boys was limited. Every other Chinese phrase rang out, "motherfucker this" and "motherfucker that." Whenever they did speak English, it was sprinkled in between Chinese sentences, words that sang out, "fucking goddamn," and a lot of cocksucker, motherfucker. Johnny felt superior but comfortable among them. He enjoyed their camaraderie, the spirit they generously shared with him, but he wasn't like them, and he knew it. They drove their limos because it was an easy enough life to fall into, and they found satisfaction in being their own bosses. The Taxi and Limousine Commission dealt out franchises for $7,000, which included the radio hookup and the gypsy plates. Another $500 for the diamond sticker that allowed them to make pickups from the street, lease or buy a black sedan. His used Continental had cost $10,000, a 1990 model. It had 80,000 miles on it when he brought it off Jungor, Brother Joan, who got cancer and went to San Francisco to die. Johnny had labored 3 hard years for Big Wong's construction and design, 2 years as Cup Yi, the steam presser in the Rich Fortune sweatshop, slaving, saving cash. All of it went into the car. The other drivers had refused to wait tables for long hours, sucking up to the white tourists. They disdained the misery of the market workers and the hard labor of the construction cowboy gangs, choosing instead to gamble and borrow, cheat and steal from their extended families. Their destinations were the racetracks and the gaming parlors, karaoke clubs and airport bars, nightclubs and whorehouses, glamorous places and secret hideaways where they chauffeured their shady clients of the night. They were satisfied with themselves and scoffed at Johnny's few foreign phrases. What the fuck did they need the Guaylo, white devil English, for? The oldest driver was G-Mun, 63, a retired steam presser from the Rich Fortune. When he couldn't survive on Social Security alone, he became the off driver whenever Johnny slept, which was mostly during the day. For the use of the car, G-Man gave Johnny 25% of his weekly tally. and he kept the Continental's tank full, including the pickups from the street and tips. Johnny was clearing $800 a week, $40,000 a year. Not bad for an ex-Hong Kong waiter with no book smarts and only fragments of English. America had taught him to be cunning. With a little luck, he figured to double the $40,000 in a year. The tips were always bigger at night, bigger chanji cash for men who gamble with their lives. But Johnny looked beyond jockeying the radio car. He believed he was going to make his money and get out, sell the car, invest his cash in other directions. Find a partner, somebody with money and connections, maybe a takeout counter in Brooklyn, or go in with the Lucky Valley's third chef, the 30-minute Photoshop idea, the hardware store, the coin laundromat, the produce market, the fish market with the Chow brothers, a bakery franchise. Dreams bantered back and forth among the drivers, waiting for calls from the night in their dark cars. Wong Jaya, they called Johnny, Kid Wong. What's with this piece of pussy you keep talking about? They asked. Johnny never elaborated, but he couldn't keep Mona out of his mind. The others knew this and teased him, knowing he'd only clam up, change the subject. Oh, Sailea, G-Man said, dangerous. The drivers knew why. Women were sly, manipulative creatures by nature, instinctively so because of the weakness of their bodies. Almost 4 months now he'd been driving her, since the end of the fierce New York City winter. A petite woman with deep black hair cut in a short bob, always wore black, high heels. She had oval eyes with a translucent brown luster, set in a face of porcelain skin that threatened to shatter in the cold. The only time he ever saw her in daylight, her lips cherry blossom red. It was a private contract. He kept her off the radio so none of the other drivers or dispatchers would know about her. But since he filled the bulk of his prime workday with sporadic pickups, leasing his downtime daytime to G-Man, the other drivers all knew he was doing side jobs. One of them had spotted Mona exiting Johnny's Continental, and word had gotten around. So nobody who was sure was who she was, Johnny became more careful about the routes he used. Secrecy, she said, was the key. He'd be required to keep her identity secret, to not talk about her. Johnny had agreed. Confidential, she said, with an edge to her Hong Kong Cantonese. The old man was short, maybe 5'5", and stocky. He had a trim mustache and was balding on top, and wore large jade rings on his meaty fingers. Everybody knew he was a big shot at the hip chings. Now she was a regular 4 nights a week, 3 or 4 stops a night. The old man always gave the orders, but it was Mona who paid Johnny cash, $300 a week. They hardly spoke the first 4 months, and never in front of Uncle Four. Gradually, she opened up to him, and now he wished she hadn't. The money and tips were good, but he didn't like to get involved with the customers. And what she confided in him was like a throbbing in his brain, a dull and bothersome headache. The month before, after they'd begun to speak regularly, she gave him a fearful look and quietly said some nasty things about Uncle Four. He wished he hadn't heard it, wished he could do something about it, but knew it was impossible. She said Uncle Four beat her and raped her, and that he did this regularly. Well, what the fuck, he thought, she's his mistress. What the fuck does she expect? Why stay with him then? When he asked her why she didn't simply leave, she just cried. And they didn't speak for a week after that. But he knew that she had given him part of her pain, and he was suffering along with her. She didn't have to speak. He saw it in her eyes every time they stole glances at each other, every time she touched his hand, every time she walked behind the mustache and never glancing back. Fucking bitches, the other driver said. They play you for a sucker. Don't let them use you, they warned. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's what those high-headed cunts care about. Johnny was trying to control the fever slowly warming in his brain. He had 2 hours before he had to pick her up, until he had to face her eyes asking 100 questions. He glanced at his wristwatch, tossed his bet money into the pool with the other drivers. 2 hours to kill. He invested $40 at Yonkers Raceway, Snapping Dragon in the 4th, Samurai Warrior in the 11th. What the hell, he thought, and closed his eyes. But 11 o'clock came around faster than he expected, and the tears welled up in her slow eyes. Men have hurt me tonight, again, Mona whispered. Johnny stood and wrapped his arms around her until there were no more words. That's how it was with Mona. Her words came infrequently, calculated, wrapped in precise phrases full of poignancy and passion. But it was the heartache in her face, the tears spilling from her eyes, the quiver of her lips, the shiver of her body when he pulled her close. For him, that was her true expression. There was no escape from these images, Johnny knew. They wrenched his heart and shredded his toughness. She was making him as vulnerable as she thought he was. And then the other drivers laughingly warned him she'd nail his ass. He couldn't say no to anything she desired. And later, when they lay together in his tenement flat, there was no need for the words he didn't have. The only sound was coming from the slap and the pull of their bodies against each other, the soft clutching groans and whispers, leading to hard, fast breathing and the sharp, anguished cry of desperate pleasure. So tonight, we're fortunate to have Michael Moore with us and Peter Chin, and they're going to talk about their books, Bad to Blue and In the Ghostshadow. So I'm going to turn this over to Michael.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sean and Henry for organizing this and putting this together. And of course, I'd like to thank everyone here. I know everyone has a busy schedule, and for you to take the time out from your busy schedule to come out and attend this event, it means a lot to us. And I'd like to update everyone on what's going on with the project that I started. It all started back in 2015, and that's when I decided I was eligible for retirement from the NYPD, and I decided, you know what, nobody ever spoke about this topic, about the history of the gangs in Chinatown. It all came from a non-Asian, like a reporter, police officer, law enforcement, and whatever information they were able to get a hold of is from the court documents. So yeah, I saw it firsthand, you know, from the law enforcement side and also from being on the streets. And I decided it was important for me to step up and preserve this piece of history. I'm not the type of person who like to come out and be in the limelight. That's not who I am. But I feel that this is more important to be able to save this piece of history, and that supersedes my need for privacy. Because I'm a very private person. I'm not the type of person who like to come out and speak in public like this. It's not who I am. Back around 2015, I decided to do this. A year later, I went to do my research, gather all the notes and previous news report through the archives, microfilm in the library of the incidents that happened, that we went through, that some of my friends went through, and that's when I found out that Henry was an author, and he's been a great help. I reached out to Henry, and he came out, and he's one of the nicest, sweetest person you will ever meet. Just our first meeting, we went to Del Fisco. I took him to Del Fisco Steakhouse, and we sat there, we had a steak, and I had so many questions for him, how to navigate through the world of traditional publishing. And every advice he's given me was on point. You know, sometimes you do your research, but to hear it from a published author like himself is very, very valuable information. And that's why I like to thank Henry. You know, we have to credit Henry for today. And he kept me motivated. That's why I think it's very important to support the Asian American authors and hopefully open doors for other authors. If I can help anyone who needs advice on how to publish a book, I'm sure Henry and myself, I guided Peter Chin through the whole process, and his book got published. And that's why I'm here. Thank you, Henry, and also Peter, for putting his trust in me to tell his story. And if you read the book in the Ghostshadow, and you know how we connected. Also some inside information that I never released before. There's things in the works right now with some plans on making it into like a TV show. It's been going back and forth for a couple of years already. I guess one thing, maybe you heard that Peter has a deal with 50 Cent, the rapper. We were going back and forth for the last couple of years, but we didn't mention anything about it. But it was 50 Cent himself who posts on Instagram. So, I mean, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but 50 Cent himself posting on there. So, you know, so that's in the works right now. And with my project, there's a producer from from a well-known, what would you call it, a TV show. I don't really watch TV too much, so it's a pretty well-known TV show on Netflix that picked up my project. So hopefully it's gonna open some doors to the Asian American actors. Because we're gonna need a lot of Asian American actors out there for the cast. So that's been in the works for the last, I would say, about 2 years. Yeah. So it takes time. It takes time. So a lot of things I don't understand about the film industry. So hopefully there's people out there that can give you the advice that guys need to, like what a shopping agreement is, and a pitch and a deck, all this kind of stuff that they put together. So it takes time. Let me see. Read a passage from. I guess I'll just read a passage from the book. This book is dedicated to my grandmother, my uncle, my late uncle and grandma. So I'm just gonna read a chapter that speaks about my grandmother. Okay, let's see. Start over here. Okay, this speaks about the time when the village was attacked by the Japanese soldiers during the war. Okay. When the Japanese army attacked her village in 1941, the watchman rang the alarm. After grabbing whatever belongings they could hold on to, the villagers and their children ran for their lives. They heard about the cruelty of the Japanese army, such as throwing children up in the air and catching them with bayonets and burning villages to the ground. The Japanese soldiers went from house to house with their bayonets looking for anything of value. For all recall, they hacked and shot anyone in sight. An officer with several soldiers barged into the house of my great-great-grandfather. The 72-year-old had been too weak to leave, so he remained there with his wife. The officer pointed a bayonet at his face and asked him questions in Japanese about the photograph of my grandmother on the wall. Annoyed that he could not understand, the officer hit Chin's head with the rifle. He reeled from the blow and fell on the floor. A soldier continued questioning him while pointing to the photograph. Only then did Chin realize that the Japanese were looking for young girls to rape. Using gestures, he said she was dead. Enraged by his answer, they broke the glass bottle and made Chen kneel on the shards. To mock him further, the soldiers forced him to bow to them while his wife looked on. They pressed him to disclose where the valuables were hidden. The soldiers weighed down on the old man's shoulder, so the broken glass cut deeper into his knees. Another pressed his boot with spikes on Chin's leg until it bled. At that point, he was ready to die. Having gotten their loot, the soldiers finally left. Outside, Japanese soldiers chased villagers through the fields, hunting them down. Popo's brother, Edward, froze in terror as they ran amid the hail of bullets. Popo hoisted him onto her back, fueled by the adrenaline coursing through her body, ran towards a river in the distance. Fellow villagers fell dead as gunfire and screams filled the air around them. As they approached the river, her heart sank. The water was deep, and she knew it would be nearly impossible to cross, but she had no time to dwell on it, with the pursuers closing in. She pushed her brother down to the muddy river bank, lay down on top of him, then smeared mud all over their bodies. She told him to play dead alongside the dozens of lifeless people around them. The soldiers checked the bodies strewn across the area, likely looking for anyone that still showed signs of life. One soldier stood over my grandmother. She pleaded in her mind, "Brother, my brother, do not make a sound or move one bit or we will die." Seconds ticked by, marked by a pounding heart she feared the soldiers could hear. He kicked her to see if she reacted. Fortunately, or perhaps out of this soldier's humanity, the toe of his boot scraped the mud before it hit her, blunting the force. She heard him say something in Japanese to another soldier, possibly confirming she was dead. The soldier walked away to join his troop. Grandma and her brother remained motionless for hours, long after the soldiers left, just in case someone watched and waited for survivors to emerge from the banks. She heard nothing but leaves rustling against the wind. At one point, she believed she was indeed dead. Her body was so numb she could not move. When she finally opened her eyes, all she could see was darkness. The sun had gone down by the time she finally staggered to her feet. When she pulled Edward up from the ground and hugged him tightly, we survived, but they still had a long way to go. They walked with a sea of corpses, searching for survivors while trying not to vomit. She recognized several familiar faces and cried. They followed the river until reaching the waterfall. Papa and the brother waded through the water towards a small cave behind the waterfall. They entered through a curtain of falling water to hide. Shivering and still in shock, they could do nothing but lie on the wet, rocky ground. They were too scared to run or to return to the village, so they stayed in the damp cave for several days. One morning, they heard someone calling out for survivors and screamed for help. Papa was too weak to move through the fever and starvation, and both had to be carried out of the cave. I'm going to skip over here to this part. So with my grandmother, so when she came to this country, I was a little kid, and I would push her to tell me bits, and she didn't want. It was very difficult for her to talk about these things. And I was a child when she told me. I was maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, and I keep pushing her to tell me these stories about the war because I was interested in hearing about her life story. And it was difficult for her to talk about, so I would keep pestering her, and I put all the pieces together. And then later on, as I got older, and she started to open up a little bit more, but even then it was still hard for her to talk about. Popo may not realize how her stories using courage and wits to stay alive shaped my own tenacity. Her resilience, determination, and quiet strength imprinted on me, a boy eager for tales of war, as well as the attention of someone who dearly loved him. Popo worked as a seamstress in a Chinatown sweatshop. She woke up early. She woke early preparing for the day with slow measured movements and sipping tea until she had to leave. Because she worked 12-hour days, she could come home midday to meet me when my parents dropped me off at her apartment after school. Then she'd take me to work with her because no one was home to care for me. In both the summer heat and winter chill, she and I walked to the sweatshop. Like, I remember, like, you know, even when she's sick, she had a cold, a fever, she would still go to work. And during that time, I guess a lot of the Chinese immigrants, they had that work ethic because they needed to make money to survive. So that, I guess, that passed on to me. And when I went to elementary school, even when I have a fever or if there's a major snowstorm and the kids can have the option to go to school now, I always chose to go to school. I had like a perfect attendance all the way up to 11th grade. And I still carried that into the police department, right? Even when I was sick, coughing, I just couldn't get it out of me. But then I realized I'm passing it to other people because I get yelled at. I'm like, people like the cops I work with, like, why the hell are you here? You're sick. You're gonna pass on. So then that's when I, like, what's normal to me, I thought that was normal, you know. So I'm sure some people can relate to that, especially people around my age or older. And now that I think about it, my grandmother was probably younger than me. Now I'm my age, so I'm grandpa age. And okay, so let's see. My earliest memories from around the age 4 to 9 revolve around spending hours each workday in that sweatshop. Nestled in the narrow Chinatown alley in the dimly lit warehouse was a world of its own. Rows of sewing machines lined the cramped corners, each manned by a grim-looking Asian woman working tirelessly in silence. From dawn until dusk, the rattle of the machines echoed off the walls, creating a constant soundtrack. The humid stale air was laden with the scent of human effort. In summer, the sweltering heat turned the jam-packed room into a cauldron of sweat. In winter, despite the biting cold that chilled their bones, the woman continued weaving and stitching with her own fingers. In the secluded hive, time was marked by the needle's rhythmic dance and the silent determination of those laboring within. While the adults worked, I played with the spools of thread as if they were Lego blocks, hopping from one fabric bin to another, building fortresses around Papa's sewing station. I remember Papa asking me for help threading a needle, which made me feel valuable and important. Looking back, she certainly could have done it faster on her own, but I think she wanted to involve me to give me a sense of accomplishment. When boredom threatened, I turned my attention to the cats roaming beneath the shop's machines and tables. The sight of the cat with a mouse's tail dangling from his mouth became the highlight of my day, thrilling me with the spectacle of brutal nature. Sometimes I put the metal thimbles on each of my fingers, imagining they infused kung fu powers through my hands. That sweatshop became a sanctuary of my imagination, a place where I disappeared into my own world, weaving tales as intricate as the fabrics. But watching Papa's daily grind, with no joy on her face, sometimes sent me into darker ponderings. I don't understand why she had to work so hard. I wanted her to spend more time with me at home. Unanswered questions weighed on my young mind, often making me drowsy. Sometimes I went behind Papa's seat, hugging her waist with my tiny arms, resting my head against her back, letting the sewing machine symphonic cadence lull me to sleep. So even then, at a young age, I questioned, why does she have to work so hard? Why can't she spend time with me? The world's not fair. And then it's just, I guess the anger, maybe that's where it builds up. Why do some people have it and why do some people not? And even at that young age. And then when she's taking me to the town association and make her donations to the town members, it's like, you work so hard for the money, why are you giving it to the towns? So I had a lot of questions even as a little child. You know. So this book is not just about violence, gang violence, bloody war, action, whatever. It's about how I felt. It's about my feelings. And there may be parts where people say, oh, like you're glamorizing it. I can't see how I'm glamorizing this life. It's nothing glamorous. It's not glamorous. If you live it, maybe for outsiders who never lived the gang life, they think it's glamorous. I don't know. So it's not meant to glamorize this life. It's just the facts. That's what I saw. That's what I went through, and that's what I did. Sometimes I think look at like Julius Caesar, right? He did so much atrocities, genocide, killings, and is that glamorizing Julius Caesar by naming a casino after him, or salad dressing, or pizza after him, right? Are we gonna erase history? So that's how I feel, and that's why I hope people don't take it the wrong way when they read this book. In no way, shape, or form am I glamorizing the life. I'm just explaining exactly what I went through. That's it, and how I felt at the time. And if at the time I felt good about hurting somebody, that's how I felt at that time. But do I feel that way now? No. Well, maybe, it depends. And I'm gonna pass on to Peter Chang.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming over here, okay? But first of all, I'm very nervous because I'm not much a speaker, all right? You give me a mic, I don't know what to do. But you give me a gun, I know what to do, all right? Seriously? But I am what I am, and well, I'm not gonna read the book. So any question you can ask me, everything's written on that book, every sentence is the way it is. So if I don't know, I wouldn't say it. That's the way that people that knows about me, that's what I am. But how I started? Well, I had the offer when I was in prison. About 5 years before I came home, they gave me an offer. But the offer, I said, it's not about the money. It's about when I have to talk about my past, where I was young, when I was in Hong Kong, how I grew up. And every time I talk about it because it involves my mother. I feel really bad for her, the life that she has. She actually gave birth to all of us, 4 of my sister and me, and she died. That's all she did, her life. She never had a vacation. She don't go shopping. She don't do her nails. She don't do her hair. She's not sloppy, but I'm saying. She just, all her clothing was like, my sister made it for her in the factory. She did nothing. So she worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And Sunday that she pushed the cart, the laundry down Chatham Street. It's not too far from here. There's a laundry over there, and wash all our clothes. And that's the week. She worked 6 days. She go to work like 7:30. By the time she get off, it's 2 a.m. sometimes, 3 a.m. those days. And there's many nights that I slept in the factory. You know, a pile of garment on the side. I just slept over there until when she finished. But anyhow, I'm not gonna read the book. So I only have 24 books over here. That's it. And it's all sold out over here, so I don't have enough. So, but anyway, they gave me the offer back then when I come home at 5 years. And I says, no, it's too painful for me to talk about when I was young. Hey, Pete, you don't have to talk about what you did over here. We could find things here, and we make it up. But that's not my story though. You're gonna make it up, how could it be in my memoir, biography? I said, I don't want that. Well, a lot of writers does that, you know, a lot of writers did, like they met the person, about the story about that person 3 times, 4 times, and they could write a book. My writer met me many times. I even drove to down where he lived. He comes up very often. I show him every places that happens there, right? As a matter of fact, I live like a block and a half from here, East Broadway, 92 East Broadway. Yeah, back then, across the street, there's a nightclub. That's where everything changed when I saw that guy got, my boss got killed and the lady got killed that night. I was 14, but anyhow, so every time when I was start to talk about my past, I always have tears in me. When I did I'm gonna tell you this. One day, Mike, Kenny, two of them, the first time he did this, right, interview me, I said, Mike, he seen me already. I said, I gotta stop. Tears coming out of my eye. I'm 65 years old. You know, it's kind of embarrassing, right? But it's the feeling in me. Can't hold it. He was crying. That guy was crying over there. I said, no. Mike, he got tears in there. I said, stop. That's how painful to think about it. So when my author did this book, I had this. He knew it. It doesn't sound right on the phone. I said, I have to stop. Yeah, okay. I got to freshen up. Let me settle down. I can't even speak no more. I felt for my mother. That's it. You know, every children would say, oh, my father's the best, my mother's the best. But I know my mother, what she went through. And I'm going to tell you here. She gave birth to us and she died. That's it. That's her life. So when I be able to give her something, it was too late. So she had no, my sister could have done a lot of things for her, and she did. You know, she was Nancy. She's the second older sister. She watched out the family. But like I said, if I am the only person out of my 5 children, right, that ran out from home, ran away from home, you could say, yeah. I could say what I want, you could say what you want, but man, who could prove it, right? Say, no, that's not my fault, blame it on my father. But listen, every one of us left in different time. The one that we're twin, Victoria, she left. That's the fourth sister. She left the house because my father was chasing after her with a knife too. So when she left, she's the first one. My older sister, Maria, she got married, and because my father was opposing her marriage, she left without telling my father. My Nancy, my second sister, left the same night that I left, but I didn't know about it until 40 years later when I came home. So my third sister asked me, one day I was talking to her, right, when I came, I wasn't, not that I'm not close with my family, I'm very close with my family. You touch my family, that's it. Same thing today, I am what I am, right? So now, when we were talking, Mary said, you know what, Nancy left home the same night you left, you know that? I said, I didn't know that. No. So now, when I came home, I was 45, right? So I asked her, Nancy, all this year, I didn't know why you left home. Did father beat you up or something? No, because I knew you couldn't survive. She left because of me, but she couldn't find me, right? 2 weeks later, she found me brushing my teeth in the hydrant. Wait a minute, down the block, East Walkway, all the way by the F train. There's a hydrant there, right? They're still there. My writer said, I told him, Pete, how sure you are about that hydrant where you brush your teeth? I said, listen, they don't move the hydrant. They do not move it. They move everything else, right? Unless you have you build a convention, a big area, football field, they gotta move the hydrant. But if you don't see nothing like that, that's the same hydrant. Why? There's only one. Oh, okay. So I was sleeping in the park, brushing my teeth in the hydrant. But all because of my father. Maybe I have a choice if my father wasn't like that. And I don't know. So back then when I was young, if you even when my family didn't know me that well, because after 13 years old I left, never came home, never be around with my family, because of I don't want my family to get involved with what I did. I try to protect them, because how I hear some other gangster, what they did, I couldn't do what they did. Or because of your brother did something to me, I want to do something to your sister. I could not do that. right? I would never do that. And so now let's go back. So the story, how Mike got me into writing this story. After I said no, they came back 2 more times. The last time, like about 6 months before I came home from prison. We're gonna give you a special offer. I said, you can forget it. I don't care what offer you give me. You can put anything on the table. I don't want it. I said, it's too painful for me to talk about. So they says, that's the part where nobody knows, right? Only my family knew. So it's nothing to talk about, you know. It's kind of like, some people will say it's kind of shameful, but after Mike came along later, 17 years, I came home, 18, 19 years, right? I came home, then he bumped into one of my, like, the nephew, like, but his father, this is how it came about. I knew his father, but his father is not a gangster type. His father just like out there making money and stuff like that. So he opened the gambling houses, right, on Baxter Street. So at that time, they shut down, because what Nicky Louis did was, he sent a guy, a hitman to him, Lehman Bun, the guy was a Chinese mayor, stabbed him, like he talked too much on the newspaper or something like that. But at that time, I was in prison, right? And I was only 15 that time, yeah. So I was in prison, he was the boss. So when he got stabbed, and he's connected with political people, right? So they shut us down for 1 year in the gambling houses. So, and they did, damn sure they did for 1 year. So there was 2 open at that time. There's only 2 that they let them operate. One on Pell Street, where his Uncle Benny, and one is on Baxter Street. That's where Kenny's father opened it, right? So I didn't know Kenny then. So Kenny was young, and then Kenny went to school with him at those days, right? He's about his age. So Kenny knew about me because of, I come around his family a lot because of after his father died. And they killed his father, and there's something involved with, isn't the book, involved with, he told me to help him, and I did help him, and that cost his life. I said, yeah, okay. So, well, anyway, that's how he died. So all those years, I didn't understand why he did what he did. And I even asked his son, Peter Wong, that Kenny does his son that goes to school with Mike. And he couldn't figure it out, he knew. So he knew that I was help with his family. And so one day I came home 17 years. So he was doing this crazy thing about preserving the Chinese gangs history, because he says he know for a fact that a lot of them is wrong. For instance, I was what's that channel? YouTube? What's that channel, Mike? I told you.
The channels. Let's not mention the channels.
Why not? It's wrong. When it's wrong, tell me the channel. I say what is right, you know. I don't bullshit, you know. If I'm wrong, I am wrong. I admit to I'm wrong, you know. That's the person I am. I don't hide nothing. I don't talk about back about nothing. That's the way it is, right? So now they offered me the 3rd time. I said no. Came home. I forgot about it. I don't want to do this over. It's not even in my mind until Kenny came along. So, and then he tried to get me for at least 8 months, at least 10 or 9 times or 8 times. I forgot. Every time knowing Kenny, and he knows about Kenny. So he jabbed a lot. He won't stop until he get what he wants. He's like a little kid. So one day, how he came about is, you know, he said, this guy Mike is a retired cop. I don't want to. I think we're a different line of business, right? But I came home. I'm doing nothing. There's nothing I don't do nothing illegal anyway. So what happened is, because when the last 3 years when I was in prison, if I could do what I did, right, illegal, I could spin my mind backward and do something legal. I could make that money. You cannot tell me everybody that owns a building over there, they sell drugs. No. Some people really would with their talent and hands, right? I think I could be somewhere near there. So I'm not the smartest guy, but I know how to make money. So now he came along And as my, I haven't met him yet. I don't know who is he. I don't know what he looks like. Right? So he says he's a retired cop, but he's not what you think he is. What do you mean? What do I think he is? He's a cop, right? Well, I think I just know. I can't. There's nothing for me to think about. No, I know him well, right? So okay, he told me that he wants to hear your story. He wants to write a book, and he wants to clarify a lot of stuff in Chinatown. He think that I knew, right? Okay. Back and forth. About 8 months, 9 months. I turned him down, right? So I got tired of hearing this thing in my car, right? There you go. I said, okay. This is what he said. He says, Uncle Kid, that's not you. He said, you always give people chances. Even the people who shot you, try to kill you, you give them chances. You let them live. Okay. I'll tell you what. Tell him to come up, I'm gonna give him 5 minutes. I'm not wasting my time. I didn't think this thing is gonna go. It's a goal, you know, seriously. So now I told him, says, I'll give him 5 minutes. We'll meet somewhere neutral by a parking lot in Queens. So he came out, and then we shook hands and introduced him to me, and then, okay, Mike, I have 5 minutes for you. I was thinking about in that 5 minutes, if he could convince me that I'll do it. I don't think it worked. You know, so far nobody could convince me so much. Then he talked about, okay, kid, I know you know a lot of story. So I says, he says, you know, I just want to preserve the history of the true history of the Chinatown gang. Because I know a lot of things out there is not true, and a lot of things that you were present. So, and then he kept going and said, I don't want nothing out of this. I'm going to introduce you a writer. And he's supposed to be my writer. He's pretty good. He won a war. And I don't want nothing like this. And then, everything that you do with him. If in the future you make movie, I don't want nothing. He says he wants zero, nothing. So, wait a minute. What's the purpose? To preserve the history of China? In my mind, I said, who cares? I'm dead already. What history? I died already, right? You're talking about 50 years ago. I don't care, right? He said, no. So, and then, okay. And then he said, the last thing he said to me, Pete, if there's one person in the future, pick up your book and read your book, and it could help that person, only one. That's more than enough. That's where he caught my heart. That's how this book came. Okay, Mike. So we started, right? So we started, but it takes a while. Well, it's 2 years now, right, Mike? It's over 2 years. And I watch him. I observe him. I said, let's see this. Is he a cop or not a cop, right? Now, because I know a lot of things is under surveillance, right? I've been before they locked me up, I was under FBI surveillance for 3 years. 3 years. And when they searched my Lincoln, they said, wow, how you know we were there? Because I marked down all their license plates, right? Wait a minute. I just bumped into this car 2 months ago, and I wrote everything down. So I see something suspicious, I wrote it down, right? So then when they went to my car, that's when my golf compartment has it. So they plate number, a lot of plate number that, you know, I thought, how stupid could they be? I want to pay for, right? Those days I only had people, right? I was talking on the phone. Here you go. A lady was walking the dog, and then I watched everywhere, like left, right, back, you know. So now she came to the phone. There's another phone, 3 phones, as a matter of fact, attached together. I'm asking, wait a minute, she's talking. I never heard that quarter, like ding, you know, that sound going in there, right? She picked up the phone and started to talk, right? Like she is actually here trying to hear me what I'm talking about. So, okay. So that's how stupid. Sometimes, you know, they're not that smart as you think they are. They're not. Okay. So now I own a club in 46th Street back then, right? Golden Taipei. So I rented an apartment across the street. The rent was all about $3,000. That's a lot of money in those days. You talk about 45 years ago. That's like $8,000-9,000 a month right now. So I just had that place to watch the club just in case, you know, I need to rest upstairs. So I look out the window, down the block by, you know, like 100 feet. They had a sanitation shop. But that damn guy keep doing the same thing, like, yeah, seriously. I said, look at him. He never let down the garbage can, right? The plastic garbage can. Go keep like that, right? So, I mean, that's how, you know, and then one day, I went out with this girl, and that's the last time I ever seen her. I didn't know I scared her like that. We was in a Japanese restaurant, it's raining, right? So we walked in, a small table by the wall. back of me was men's room and ladies' room. So she sat facing the back of the entrance. I was in back of the bathroom. And then as soon as that we walked in and sat down, and then there's a guy came in with a raincoat, because that day was raining, and with a raincoat hat. I said, her name is Lily. I said, Lily, listen, don't get nervous, man. And I've been telling you all about this, how Dave was following, okay? And look, what I do, I go to the bathroom first, right? Then I'll come back. After that, I'll just wait for about 5 minutes. Go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. All right? Just pretend you go to the bathroom and come back. I bet you this guy's gonna go. So now, she was like, her eye open when that guy go to the bathroom, right? She don't know it. I said, all right, give her that like 10, 15 seconds. Go in now. Go see where he's at, man. When she walks in, the guy was in the woman's bathroom going all over the garbage. She got scared. So that was the last time we had dinner. That's it. I never see her again. Yeah, never see her again. So it's fine. I mean, but anyway, yeah, I lived down the block over there. So that's how Mike got my story. And then I says, I'm gonna give you the truth. I said, things I know, a lot of things that I didn't know back then, I knew now because we did a lot of research. Because back then I didn't know how to speak English, not at all. I learned all my English in prison. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty good with criminal law. That's how I learned English. I want to know what a RICO is. So turn upside, you see a lot of RICO they charge, right? The president charged with a RICO, I was laughing. I heard on radio, Giuliani charged with a RICO. Oh shit, I said, I called my lawyer, I called my writer. I said, didn't I tell you this law backfire is going back? I didn't know backfire so bad all the way to the president. He signed the law, right? So, but anyway, yeah, this RICO is very dangerous. So now, I want to know that law when I got in there. I got plenty of time, 35 years, so I want to learn it. So the guy who taught me said, Pete, if you don't learn it, if you don't know English, how are you going to learn it? Wait a minute, it makes sense, right? Yeah. So he works in education. I'm very proud of him that he teach me all this. So I mean, he could actually go head to head with professor, and at the end, the professor is going to be wrong. I could bet anything on it. Because I test him time after time. I was with him 3 years, right? Going at night, right? There's one thing that he was pacing back and forth, back and forth. I said, Gene, what's wrong with you? He said, what are you pacing around for? He says, something's wrong. I said, this prosecutor says she wrote a phrase that she did not credit this person. You know, when you are intellectual, right? Which I'm not. So she said, you're supposed to quote, but this word, this phrase was from this person, or whoever say this famous word, right? So, what's the difference? Well, that's not important. Quote or no quote, right? No, you don't understand me. You know, people are judges, prosecutor, lawyer, they should know. Another one. Okay, all right. So, then he says, one day about pacing back and forth for a month. Oh, I know where they're at. Shakespeare. Right? Shakespeare. Who the hell is Shakespeare? I never heard of Shakespeare, but I never went to school. Who is he, right? Oh, this guy a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. Anybody who went to college would know about, you know, Shakespeare. One or two times they got to come by with a book of Shakespeare, right? Even they read it. Okay, Shakespeare, right? So, but we can't get the book because of our library is limited in prison, right? He went to the guy, an officer that oversees the education, right? And he works for the education, this guy, and he teaches GED. So from time to time I watch him, and then he says, he told the officer, go out and grab me this book, Shakespeare. When the officer brought it back, gave it to Gene brought it back to the cell to me. I said, shit, yeah, word for word is the same thing, right? Okay, he proved something, but from time to time, everything he says at the beginning, I said, gee, you could tell me anything, but the thing is that I don't know English, right? How will prove that you know, like what you say you are? So he said, well, Pete. So one day this happened. They call them jailhouse lawyer, the people that know a little bit about law. So some of them, you know how desperate people in there that like when they got sentenced and they want a way out. They don't care. They want to listen what they want to hear. You know, a lot of people want to hear nice thing or good thing about themselves, right? Don't want to hear bad thing about themselves, right? Majority of people is. So now there's five guys. The jailhouse lawyer was standing there like in a circle, and then they're talking about Gene passed by. He said, then he heard. He said, "All you guys are wrong." Huh? Now it became 6 of them, right? 6 people, and you say 5 wrong, and add you in there, 6 person. He said, I'm gonna prove it to you. So he defined a whole sentence on a RICO. They were talking about RICO, right? Because there's an element in the RICO, there's a word in there. They said no. Jesus, no. This word means either or. Either or. It's not mean and. It's a wrote and. But that word does not mean and. That word means either or. So, how do you approve it? So he went back to the same officer again. He specified to the officer, go to Indiana University, look for an English professor. Do not look for anybody else. Only English professor. And ask him. He diagrammed the whole thing, right? And see is it correct. Then when he brought it back, damn right, he's right. Yeah, so that's how good he was. So now I started to learn English, and I should have learned more from him. But anyway, I'm kind of lazy. So yeah, I never liked school. And after I was on the street, after I ran away from home, after I ran away from home, we ended. What happened there?
I think, I think this audience got a lot of questions for you.
I will answer all your questions. Don't worry. So I'm just giving you a very. This is not the hot. If you want to know about my life, 3 years, you can. It's not. Don't end it. So, all right. What time we got? 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna turn this over.
Okay.
This
All right.
scintillating conversation. We only have until 9:30, so.
He's kidding. He's kidding.
I don't want you to bore you by the book. I'm not gonna read the book, right?
We only got a few books. If you're gonna get the books, we're gonna make a little time for that after this. So, anybody have any questions for Michael or Peter? Let's hack at it.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you, 3 of you, if there is an Asian Martin Scorsese that will do justice to a Chinese crime family that's equal, like The Godfather, Coppola, who would you choose to have that to do your film?
Of course, me. I'm just joking. Don't think that's it. I'm joking.
On the same level as the Italian Mafia stories, we want someone who has that kind of gravitas to be able to tell the Chinatown story. Because the only movie that I know, that I can recall, which my friend's sister was in it because she was a gang girl, was The Year of the Dragon from Michael Cimino. And that was not really accurate. So I'm just curious, who would you have to tell your story, to do your story justice? Which movie director would you what kind of movie director will give you justice? Let's start from there.
I don't watch a lot of TV shows and movies. A lot of producers and directors email me, approach me for the agent and everything, and I don't watch TV. I only watch documentaries. That's what I'm into. I'm into documentaries. So as far as directors, producers, I don't know. But I think they should just throw away the old ways of doing these mafia movies, these gang movies, and focus on the backstory, why we became gang members. Right? Forget about all the violence, the shooting, and the killing. Just focus on the life of the gang member, on what made them choose that path, what led them to choose that path.
That's a very good answer. Could any of you answer that? Why that was? Why did you pick that path? Because I didn't pick that path. Everyone thought I was going to be a gang member.
Alright, start with me.
Okay.
Alright, I was only 13 years old. Like I said, even my sister says, I know you couldn't survive. She left she left the house and then never went back. I never went back. I never seen anything in my life. I mean, if you ask my sister said, "Oh, Pete, he's scared shit like chicken." I'm like when I was young. I wasn't what I am because I never experienced life. I never seen nothing in life and nothing. All I did came from Hong Kong. I went to school and then went to work and helped my mother in the factory. That's my life. So I never seen anything in my life. When I left that house at the front door downstairs, I said, "Where I'm gonna go now?" It dawned on me, and then I was hopeless. And I tried to look for jobs. I did. Those days they asked me, what, high school diploma? What high school diploma? I never went to school that far, right? High school diploma. So the last thing, I tried five different places to look for jobs. The last thing was that a newspaper company. They was printing a newspaper. I figured that let's get a job with no educations, with nothing. I just had no, like deliver a newspaper, that's it. He grabbed me like this, the boss. Get out of here. He said, "Those thing is heavier than you." I weigh 90 pounds. So and then I created an enemy, trying to help my friend that take revenge on the black eagle, right? That's how I started. Now I got an enemy over here. Now I could go home. I try to survive. I can't. So and then when I make determination, after a while, okay, I'm gonna be the best gangster I could be. I'm gonna shake Chinatown. Now, not shake down. I mean, they're gonna hear about me. So basically, I'm gonna tell you, people know me the outside. Other people that knows me like him, he knows my inside. I got a weakness, especially for older people, older women that are handicapped. I would not hit a handicap. Come on, how you hit a handicap? You can't fight back, right? I wouldn't do that, right? Children, like I got that side of me. They never see because I don't want them to see. They always in me, even till today. But anyway.
So you said that you grew up in Chinatown and you didn't choose that path. But my answer to you is, no two snowflakes are alike, okay? What you went through is not what some of these guys went through, okay? So the way I see it, like for example, look at Cambodian Peter, right? A refugee came here from Cambodia. He lived in the jungles of Cambodia, trekking his way to the border of Thailand refugee camp with his mom. Right? His whole family was slaughtered, except for his mom and his older brother. Everybody was forced to dig their own grave and jump into the grave and shot and killed. Okay, so what you went through is not what he went through. So you can't. So he lived in the jungles for almost 2 years, trekking his way from village to village, okay, and wearing the same pair of pants and no shoes, his t-shirt, that's it. So, and eating what they could find, all right? And not everyone has your personality, okay? You may be a person who may not be like me, okay? Maybe you may, if you get bullied, if you were the only Chinese kid in your school and you got bullied, how would you react? Well, how you react is different from how I react. right? Some kids may turn to drugs as a form of escape, right?
Yeah.
Or turn into an introvert, or turn into alcohol, or maybe even commit suicide, or buy a machine gun and show up at school. Everyone is different, okay? Right? And I'm not the type who's gonna kill myself or turn to drugs and alcohol or whatever as a form of escape. My escape was comic books, baseball cards, okay? And then when I found an opportunity, like, okay, this time I was interested in accepting me into this gang, it felt like a family to me. You know? Maybe your parents had time for you, right? And you felt that family love, but some kids don't have it. So everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
So you have to keep an open mind, right? And don't judge, right? Sometimes when people say that, get off your high horse. Come on. You know, we're all struggling here. We all have different struggles. You know? This world, it's not fair. You know, let's keep an open mind. That's all I say.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's why, like, me, the way I talk, I shoot from the hip. I'm blunt. That's why a lot of people don't want to hear what I gotta say. You know, so my circle of friends are very small. Those who can accept what I say, those are my close friends. And I tell it like it is. You know, what you go through is not the same as what I went through, what he went through. You know, everybody's life is different. Everybody's personality is different.
Not all gangster is like, I have my set of honor to like other people would do things that I would not. Even people not a gangster out there doing things I would never do. How are you gonna shoot at all those children? They never had a chance. You kill all the children for what? You rape this person for what? So, I mean, a lot of things I my standard I wouldn't do, right? So not everybody like you. When you hear about gangster, and you think it's bad. Well, it's not that way.
Even gangsters have their own set of morals and values, right? There's gangsters out there who refuse to rob old ladies or do anything bad to a female, okay? They don't consider those gangsters. Like, for example, if you read about Diamond in my book, okay? He's a gangster, okay? He's not out there to prey on the weak and the inferior. He's not out there to do all those things. He's out there to rob drug dealers. And the lions and the tigers are the ones that he wants to take out, okay? He's not out there, like, they're not out there extorting from the mom and pop stores, right? Those are the soldiers, like the young kids, the Ghostshadows or the foot team, they're the ones that are doing the extortion. And even then, they're not putting you out of business. It's just, like, the restaurant, you know how much money the restaurants were making back then? They're just crumbs to them, right? Look at the restaurants now. Look at all the restaurants closing up. Back then in Chinatown, you gotta wait online to get food at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So there's not much for them to give a free meal, get a free meal here and there, and a couple $100 here and there. Yeah. And also when they team down, meaning the signing for the bill, right? The Dalo picks it up. The Dalo was making money. The money was made everywhere. The Dalo picks it up and the Dalo takes care of it because it's all about face. How's your gang gonna look if Dalo can't afford to pay for the restaurant bill for the kids? That's in my case, in my personal experience. Because when I go to the restaurant with my friends and my gang-mates, we just sign our name, scribble our name, and we know it's from us. And then at the end of the month, our Dalo picks up the bill. And he makes money. He makes money through gambling houses and all these other sources of income that he gets, and also from the top. So he picks up the bill.
So basically, it was a kind of social program.
So whatever you want to call it. Gang program?
I would recommend that. No. So because no, you gotta adjust the person individually what it is. That's it. But yeah.
Like you had one kid who extorted from a guy who fixed shoes, right? And he put an end to that. He put an end to that.
All right. So at that time I was the boss, right? So now there's certain things that I would not let them do. So one day he listened to his captain, right? So that this kid I don't know this kid. So and the captain said, all right, you guys gotta go out there and earn some money. So he did. I told this story. they went and extort this guy, and I don't know him, but I see he has a machine that makes shoes. Like you got a hole, right? Well, I saw that machine in the apartment. I said, I asked the captain, I said, what's this? Well, I just wanted to go, oh, the guy said he don't pay, they took his machine, right? I said, no. I said, I'm gonna give him 3 hours. You tell him, I'm gonna give him 3 hours. I want to see the machine go back to the corner, okay? If it's not there, all right, then he know what's coming. So, with the 3 hours, I went back and checked. And then I told the old man, the guy that like sold the shoe, I said, don't worry about it no more, you know, nobody's gonna mess with you, all right? So I told him that. So certain things that I would do, it's kind of funny. Yeah, then the kid says, what am I gonna do? I said, why you did that? He said, my boss told me to go and make some money. I said, well, you know, he's not over there, I guess, so, well, I got, okay, yeah, forget it.
Everyone's mindset is different, the way they think is different, the way they grew up is different, they have different set of principles. For example, like Diamond. You know? Me and Diamond, we had the collectible shop, and it was right next to a print shop. And this lady, we were in our 20s during that time, and this lady in her 40s, we went next door to the print shop. She always helped, very nice lady, sweet lady, helped us out all the time. She came in with black and blue eye, really messed up, like almost unrecognizable. And she still went to work, right? So me and Diamond was at the store, you know, what happened? Apparently her boyfriend beat her up, okay? So Diamond's like, you want me to help you? All right? The look on her face meant yes. So Diamond said, okay, where does he work? Oh, he makes deliveries, moving company, right? Gave up a business card. So Diamond called the guy at the moving company, sent him over there, saw him, went up to him, grabbed the handle to the truck, and went up and shot him point blank 9 times. Okay, like that's how Diamond is in his mind. Like maybe she didn't think that Diamond was shooting, but to Diamond that's normal. That was normal back in the 90s. Like, okay, you want me to help you? Oh, I'll kill him for you. Like that. You know, maybe she thinks, oh, he's gonna beat him. But he shot him 9 times point blank. The guy had 9 bullet holes and survived. And survived.
Yes. Yes, young lady here.
This is a question for Peter. When you were doing gang stuff, did you ever think that you would go to prison, or was that a reality to you?
I did. So I expected, right? When I was young, and then I made up my mind, and then I wasn't even out yet, and then I made up my mind. If I choose this life, and I know I'm either two ways that I'm gonna end up. I said, there's a dirt chances, but very slim. So the first thing is I'm gonna end up dying on the street with a gun. I survived 8 assassinations. Okay, I had 2 bullets in me, one in the head, one on a puncture my lung. And this guy, I forgive him. His boss, about a year later, he shot me. He says he left the state. He said he's scared to come back. All this year, he never came back. He said, will you forgive him? Will you let him back, right? I said, yeah. If he sits in front of me and apologize to me, that's all I need. He said, his boss, yeah, that's all you need? Yeah. So his boss really know me by person, so I take my word seriously. So what happened was that I forgave him. 3 months later, he was hopping around, and he was one of the guys that got killed on that bar. Here, right here, East Broadway. Come see. Golden Star. Not too far from there. Yeah, Grandpa. Yeah, exactly, right, Grandpa. So sometimes I think about if I didn't forgive him, he probably still lived today, you know, who knows? But whatever meant to be that way is meant to be that way. So, well, look at me, I'm still alive. I never thought I became 65, never. Seriously. So I'm gonna tell you why, because back then, my wife wasn't doing nothing, and she's pretty educated, and then she liked to be around, like weekend, go to a disco with her friends, with her sisters, and all the friends together, and go to like underground or whatever, right? Those disco, and every week they wind up like that gather together. So one day I realized, I really sat down with her. I said, listen, for your own sake, not for me, I want you to continue finish college. One day I might not be here. She was thinking I might go out with another woman. I said, no, it's not that reason. I said, for your own good. So Her name is Ida. So she finally listened to me, and then she says, one day she said, I don't have a car. She needed a car. Okay, I will get you a car. So pick a car that you want. I have 4 cars. So she took the BMW. Okay, take it. I want you to finish school. And I'm glad that she did. Because when I left her, she was only 25 years old. Then I gave her half the money that I made. So, but anyway, to raise the kid, I have 1 kid. So I told her, so now that reality came, then she, you know what? She started in the stock, Merrill Lynch. She, the stock market, and then she earned minimum wages back then. But after 5 years, she went to UBA. She became one of the managers, and she became 150 grand. Because she had a college degree, or else she won't be there, right? I knew what I was facing, so that doesn't bother me. So when I went to prison life is not that bad in the United States. Seriously, when I walk in there, tennis court, shit, 3 tennis court. I said, wow, I used to have to pay money to play tennis in that. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It was $20-something for an hour, 40 years ago. Tennis court for free. Oh, okay. So I picked up tennis. I played 10-year tennis, and then after that I got ball, and then I played racket court. Take a racket, and one place I went, they got golf, miniature golf. Shit. I said, yeah, inside the unit they have pool. Every unit have a pool downstairs, right? Pool. Oh, yeah, I'm not interested in pool. So every sport that I do, I fast, like basketball. Even today I'm playing, right? And I gotta go to, it's a shame, I gotta go to Queens College and look for those kids to play with. Yeah, as a shame. So he won't play with me no more. One time.
I can't keep up with them.
So, but anyway, yeah. So prison is not that bad, but I don't advise you to go to prison. When you do state time, that's something else. Federal prison is like luxury. If they send you 5 years, like you go on vacation to go to the camp, yeah.
Oh, and you get your Remy XO over there too.
Yeah. So when I was inside, I don't smuggle in like drugs. I could have, but I don't want. So there's a lot of drugs in there that I have never seen in my life on the street. Even heroin. I know a lot of friends that deals with heroin, like Dice and everybody, right? I know Dice really well. You talk about Dice. So, but anyway, I never seen them. I hear about them. But when I went to prison, oh shit. Oh, that is this is that. And then one day I was in the TV room. This guy pulled a sheet of paper, the acid paper, like Mickey Mouse, a little tiny one. He had at least 300 sheets. Those are $50 one. I said, what's this? Oh man, I have never seen drugs like what I seen in prison. Right? So yeah, they call them hooch. You know what hooch? They use fruit to make wine, and it really got you drunk. I drank it one time, but it kind of smelled. I got drunk and knocked in the head with got up to go to the bathroom inside the room, and then started to fake on me, right, spinning. And I felt like a cartoon, you know how it flat down. So I put my head in the radiator, and I don't know how I did it. Climb my way back to the upper bunk. But all my life in prison, I live in the upper bunk because I could see anybody coming, I could jump down. But anyway, yeah. But the state and federal prison is totally different. State is rough because you always have to watch yourself and watch your back and everything like that. But in there, no. I had one fight. And I caused that fight. You could say, yeah, I caused that fight because of this damn goddamn one of the inmates that came back from work. And so usually there's no fight because people in there don't really fight unless most of them that fight you see like a Mexican fight with Mexican, and the black fight with the black, like Washington D.C. and New York black. They hate each other. D.C. and New York, they always fight. But other nationalities usually you don't see that way, anything like that. Not even Italian. So Italian and us is always about food. We're the local food, right? so yeah, like what he said about Ramy, right? So I asked this guy. This guy said, "Hey, since you like to drink, stop drinking those hooch. What do you want to drink?" So he said, "Oh man, you talking? No, that is another one. I gotta tell you this first. Joe Whiskey." The Crown Royal. Okay, so he's from Philadelphia, right? He's an older guy, and like I said, I felt for older people. So he's not a mobster, but he know all the mobsters in Philly. So when he go to the yard, I sit down with him and look at Sonny Fancy. That's the mob captain. I play handball stuff like that. I met all 5 families in there, all the top bosses. So the 5 commission cases. I even met Gotti when he was there. He was saying 4 people with me. But anyway, so what happened was that Joe Whiskey, and he's an older guy, and then I was, when I got food, I always bring it to him. That special food that he don't get. So I have somebody like a hack in there, an officer in there, bring me stuff. So I give him money, and then he bring me stuff. So how I hide my money in there? I roll it up with the clear plastic marble, and then roll like 200, and stick it in the toothpaste. So when I squeeze it, and then the 200 squeeze up. That's how I hide it, because if they find it, you're in trouble. So I have like 20, I stack them up, 20, 15 soap, so mix them up, they get confused. So now he brings me stuff, I give him money, and then I ask Joe Whiskey. It was about like another week, Christmas. I was sitting in his room, and then him and his roommate, Tony Kershaw, was there, and then he was talking about bullshitting. I said, Joe, if there's a wish for you now, what would you want to have? And a certain thing you cannot say, well, woman, get out of there, you can't have that, okay? So he said, oh man, I'm dying for 1 shot of Crown Royal. Crown Royal? Raby, I know about Raby, right? I'm not a drinker anyway. So, what Crown Royal? And he explained it to me as a liquor. Okay, all right, now I had that in mind, but I didn't tell him that I will get it. I don't know if I can get it now. So, okay, I kept that in mind, and I went down to see I was in Virginia. So Petersburg, Virginia, I was doing my time over there. So I asked this officer, he works in the recreation department. He's big and tall. His feet are maybe size 16, big. So now I asked him, because he was bringing me all the tennis racket and Speedo, the shorts for me. Yeah, because you can buy them in there, right? So no, it's good, shorts. I was playing tennis, so he brings them to me. So whatever he brings, I give him 100, 200, whatever it is. So I gave him $200 that day. I said, look, get me this the day before Christmas, Crown Royal. It's okay. So you get the $100. I didn't know how much that Crown Royal. As a matter of fact, I just bought one yesterday. I never bought liquor in the liquor store. Yesterday I went and bought that Crown Royal apple taste. Yeah, I did. So I says, I've been home all this year. I'm not a drinker. So, but anyway, and then where I was stationed, the corner lived, right? I could see the officers all coming in or checking out, going out. The metal detector by the door. So 4 o'clock, he's supposed to come in. So now I stay in the window and watch. Did he come in with at least he had a lunch box or something, right? Damn, this guy! I saw him walk through. Said he was carrying a pair of sneakers, his sneaker, and I not no back no. I said this guy maybe could get it in. Well, you can get it in, get it. Then about when they called evacuation before they opened for the main line, I went out because he worked in the evacuation of. I forgot his name. I said, yeah. Then he waved at me. Gee, come here. What? I was thinking about how he's going to tell me, explain to me how he could get it in. Okay, fine. I went in there. He says, he pulled out from his sneaker. Wow. I said, okay, now I got to find a way to sneak it back, to the unit. You cannot have it. So I snuck it back. I went to almost time locked down where I know one time, like 8 o'clock, to go back in his room. Him and the cellie was out. I just put it on his table. Then when he came back to the cell, him and his roommate ran over to, we lived together, but in the unit, in the same unit, housing. He came in, he was like, he had tears in his eye. He said, I said, Joe, when you finish that bottle, give it back to me. I need that bottle. I got to disappear this bottle. They find it, we're in trouble. So when you finish, give it back. Oh, we'll finish by tomorrow. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So a lot of stuff that I could get is food, like stuff like that. And I would never ask the officers to bring drugs in. You know how much a pack of Marlboro now, if an officer bring it in? When I left 20 years ago, it's $300 for a pack of Marlboro. Yeah? Because they banned it. They banned it from smoking.
Thank you, Peter.
All right.
We are not going to take any other questions tonight. We're just going to let Peter.
I don't.
Oh, seriously, that's a question there?
Well, let me ask one question before I go. You've all written books now, right? You've all written a book. And I'm wondering whether the book that you've written, this is for all three of you, whether the book that you've written will help that one other person. How do you hope that your book will help that one other person?
All right.
That's all I have.
Good, Peter.
You told me that. You said, but one day somebody picked up the book, I don't know how, that helped that
Alright,
person.
so, well, my,
You gotta say.
if you read my book, it's about change, making positive change. And in order to make that change, you need to realize what you're doing is wrong. Okay? When you realize what you're doing is wrong, then you're able to take the first step. And then it's on you. Well, if you don't realize it, if you don't realize you have an alcohol problem, a shopping problem, or a drug problem, if you don't realize that's a problem, and it's getting to be a problem, right, you're not going to take that first step. And without that first step, you're not going to take the second step. So if you read the book, okay, there was a moment in time when I realized, okay, that what I'm doing is wrong. Like, I'm in this environment, I feel like I was trapped in this environment, and I'm getting deeper and deeper, and I'm stuck in this environment, and how do I get out? Okay? So, and like you said, there's always different roads you can take. At that time, I didn't realize it. So it took me, just like my grandmother, right? She went to work when she's sick. Like, to me, I grew up thinking that's normal. You're sick, you're still gonna go to work, otherwise you're not working hard enough. You're not a good person, you're lazy. So in my mind, that was normal until you realize that that's not normal. And then you make that change.
My book is that don't be the person like my father is, especially men. You would destroy the whole family. I mean, really, really. There's nothing good about him. Even today, when I go to the cemetery, my grandma, there's four, there's four. My grandma, grandfather, my mother, and him. I will not kneel or give him incense. That's how bad it is to this day. And my sister tell me he's dead, forgive him. Yeah, it's easy for you to say, he's dead now, right? So, there's no way that I would do that, to forgive him. I can't forgive him, what he did to my mother. I can't, it's not about me. I took all the pain, and I have not cried one tear. He would never see me. When all the time he with me, there's no tear coming out of my eye. Because I don't let him take the satisfaction. I can take the pain. Not about me. Because I see what my mother went through. After that, she went to those insane places for 3 years because of him. Oh man, so I better not talk. You don't complain.
No, just
He complain.
just like the what his mom went through, the physical and psychological torture that she went through. If any female read this book, get out if you can. Or it's for her to put her hand on the stove and let her hand burn because she's void of any feelings whatsoever. Okay, that's the mental abuse that she got from him. Okay, that she had no more feelings and she just let her hand cook on the stove. And then she got sent to a mental institution.
One day when I took over he was on my street. He was all alone. He was one of the members. I said, the first thing I want, I said to the soldiers, get him out. To let him know now about faith. He wants faith, but we never embarrass him. We never shame him. We never went with him nowhere. What faces he's talking about? I was too young, I was too, in other words, I can't fight back. I was young, I was smoke. I don't weight that much back then. I couldn't fight back. You know what hurts me more? When my mother came, before she died, she came to prison and said, son, it's all mom's fault, right? Wow. It hurts me so much when she said that. I said, it's not your fault. Why your fault? Why you blame yourself? Because there's no, she's scared, she can't even help herself. How does she help me, right? So, why that I became on the street that she always blamed herself. I said, no, it's not your fault. It's not, it has nothing to do with you at all. You know, when she said that word to me, I feel like, I feel pain, I feel pain. I even talk about it, I feel pain. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a detective for 17 years and I've dealt with a lot of domestic violence. The violence can only escalate, right? There's one case I remember very clearly. This female, she made a report on this guy multiple times, dozens of times, and he's known to us. Arrested him so many times that it's like a routine. I get the bad feeling that this is the only person that I had this feeling about, that one day he's just gonna kill him. Because when I was driving back to the precinct, nonchalantly he says, I'm just gonna kill him one day. You know? So those words rang true to me, and I reported to my boss. I went into the office and I spoke to him. I said, I made a lot of arrests. I've dealt with a lot of domestic violence case. I have a feeling this guy is gonna kill him one day. So I had a long talk with the victim. I said, is there any way you could just pick up, get up, leave? I mean, just think about it. I just get a bad feeling that one day he's just gonna kill you. I mean, is there any way where you just start a new life somewhere? You know, because I believe him. She just couldn't do it. And sure enough, a couple of years later, she's dead. Killed him. And it came true. That was the only person I had bad vibes about. Out of all the people I arrested.
Yeah, I'm not the baddest guy, or I'm not the toughest guy, but if you challenge me today, even today, I won't back down. Hey, I will not back down. There's another guy over there, Jimmy knows about it. So what happened in Flushing, I will tell you this incident. Recent, maybe 3 months ago, 4 months, 5 the most. It's not ashamed to tell you this. They shouldn't do what they do. What happened was that a guy, he was sitting in the car. I thought he was getting ready to leave. I asked him, are you leaving? Or you? Either two ways, I was thinking. Either he's by himself. He's not with a girl. If she's with a girl, maybe, he'll chill out and talk about, I understand. But he's by himself. So I asked him, are you leaving? He don't want to look at me. And I asked him, are you leaving or you staying? If you staying, okay, fine, I leave. At the same time I was talking to him, the car in front of him left, right, pulled out. So forget about it, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. So I tried. He moved in. He took 2 spots. Oh, wait a minute. I said, no, you're not going to do that to me. Right? Why? I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong at all. So what happened, what took place was Jimmy knew about this now, because later I told him to find out who this guy. So now, and now it really pisses me off. To do with anybody, you're not right. Why are you holding 2 spots when there's two, you could choose either one, I don't care. Just park it for 5 minutes and leave. Okay. So when he took 2 spots, and when he opened that brown paper bag, want to eat his lunch or sandwich, I said, no, you're not going to eat no more. Right? So now I rolled down my window. I was on the driver's side. I said, yo, he still my nice beep horn and everything. He pretend he never see me. He know I'm there. So now he want to eat his lunch. You're not going to eat your lunch now. So I jump over on the passenger side, open the door. Now, being that we're so close to each other, I didn't bang his door. I didn't do nothing to his door. Never dented his door. I opened where it's just, because not just enough room for me to get out. It just touches a door. Now, before I could say anything, he rolled down the window. Now he want to roll down. Blah, blah, blah. He cursing at me in Mandarin. I understand every word, right? So he said, blah, 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 操你妈. 他说操我妈 okay. Now, 操我妈 my mother? You talking about my mother? He is the first person talking about my mother. So, okay. Yeah, he is. Nobody ever talk about my mother. So I said, okay, you talk that. F my mother, F me, F my cousin, anybody, okay. But my mother, I said, you dead. So now, I took out this big knife, which is like heavy knife. Yeah, so I closed my door on the passenger side. So I went to in front of his car, his hood. I did the whole big hole in it. Yeah, so okay. Now I walked back to him. I didn't realize I still had the knife in my hand, right? So I tried to stick he have a window on. So I tried to go to his window, try to talk to him. Yeah. So now he got so scared. He climbed to the passenger side, right? So he couldn't get out. No. He tried to bang the door, right? The door the garbage was holding him. He can't go up. So I don't know how the hell he jumped from there to the back seat and opened the door. So he was running, if you know Flushing Main Street, he was running toward that library. I was standing there by myself looking at him. I said, look at this Jeff. Either he's gonna call the police, I won't give a shit. So either he's gonna call somebody, I don't give a shit. Or he gonna come back with a gun, I don't care. So, okay, it's only 3 ways, so I wait for him a little bit. Now, at the same time, I was holding up the traffic. I don't want to do that, right? So now I turned to leave. Another guy got my hand, right? And one of this, I figured it's one of this guy. Oh, 你刚刚做这样你走 what? So you just did this and you try to go? I said, I swing him up. Listen to me. You want some of this? He said, no. He said, no, right? Okay, no. Then when I lift my head up, 5 guys over there, right? I asked each one of them, you want? I'm not a tough guy. If you want it, if you want to get in this business, I get in with you, right? So like that. I was in the anger management program, right? No, I'm not angry. I'm right though. I'm right. I will tell you I'm right. I will tell you this story. So the counselor, I was there 2 years. Well, how I got in there, I'm still right with this story. Because our key hotel over here, right? My friend from Canada came and I went up and visited him. 12 o'clock at night. When I walked in, the reception was there, the guy. So when I came back out, like 15 minutes. So the guy gave me a drink and I said, okay, we'll go have tea tomorrow, right? And we'll go to the restaurant and have tea tomorrow. And that's it, 15 minutes. I came back down, the door was locked, a glass door. And I don't see the guy no more, I don't know where to look for him. So I took the thing, nothing to press. I pressed the thing, it don't open. So, no, okay. Now he came out from the back. He looked like a bozo, his hair this way, that way, right? I said, this goddamn guy must be sleeping, he has to. He went back there and sleep, and I don't know, 2 a.m., I don't know. So I told him, I said, he see me choking the door. I said, listen, open this door, right? He looked at me for a few seconds. He just came in. I said, what the hell, I came in, I could go, right? You can't lock me in there, it's a hotel. Boy, you gonna tell me when to go, when to come? So I told him again. I said, by the 3rd time, he still looked at me like that. I'm crazy. I think he's in the cloud 9. He's dreaming. I wake him up from sleep. So I said, I'm count to 3. You don't open this door. I will tell you. I will do something to you. So, but being that he was surrounded with bulletproof glass, right? Big, right? So I said, 1, by 3, I start to terrorize the whole lobby. Anything I see, I throw it at him, right? So now he's ducking. But that thing don't crack that thing. That's a bulletproof, right? I didn't know. So Christmas Day, the Christmas tree was gone, the pot was gone, everything except soda machine. It was too heavy. I'm trying to pull it, right? But man, when I get mad, I'm right. He's wrong. So you know what I'm saying? When he's wrong, when I came home, I bumped into so many incidents. But every time, that not because if one day. I'm still afraid. One day a person like me, that we bump into each other, will not back down. Yeah, we're gonna have a problem, either me or him. But so far, I have 20 more incidents, but he don't want me to tell you, it's too long. So I'm gonna cut it short. It's true, it's a true story. These guys don't want me. So now, I'm watching leave. Let me finish this part. I'm watching leave. So, okay, so I got back in the van, so I left. Then, when I make the turn about a block and a half, he's behind me, that guy, with the car that I did it. I said, shit. Now he's holding back 10 cars. Behind me, there's no car. He backed up all the cars, so he got 10 cars space. But it's a one-way, he can't go nowhere anyway. So I looked at him, remember, I said, shit, this guy, man. Okay, now I got really pissed. I took the chuckle stick out. So now I hide behind my back. So now this time he walked in the front. He came up with the car, right? Because last time he tried to get out, he couldn't get out, so he don't want to get stuck there. So now, so when he was standing in front of the car, and then when I walked toward him, he went to the back, the trunk. So me and him, like I tried to chase him around, and I got even worse bad, okay? Okay? I said, you want to follow me, right? Okay, bang, with the check jack. One window, okay? You want to follow me again? Another window, until I broke everything, all his window, right? So, okay, you still want to follow me? I should have punched out all the hotel, he couldn't follow me, though. He still wants to follow me. I am what I am, but if I knew, I'm right, Jesus Christ did not hold me. Seriously. Especially with a woman, yeah. A woman, a friend of mine, that, she got slapped in Flushing. Her boyfriend was there watching. I could not do that. I would not let nobody pick on anybody else, even Mike. If I see him get hurt, no, I will jump in, because she's with me. I would not do that. I just pretend that I don't hear them, see nothing. His boyfriend pretended 5 guys they want to take her spot. When she tried to back a car, another car just shot right in there. There's 5 Chinese guys. They have army and slapped the girl. And then his boyfriend acted like, oh, he went the other way. I said, you know what, Vivian, call your boyfriend back. Have him stand on the 9th floor. She was living in a condo. I said, have him stand by the elevator, by the stairs, and kick his ass down. You don't want a boyfriend like that, no. A man's supposed to defend his family, his loved one. Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.
Stories like that not in the book. Can you put them on YouTube also? These stories on YouTube?
Oh,
It's not in the book.
How many hours of interviews I have with you?
Hundreds.
Hundreds, and it's gonna be released down the road.
You want to hear my story? I take your money away. Give me.
Hundreds, literally hundreds.
We're gonna wait for Peter's next book because
No,
it's too much for one book. Book 2.
I just want to tell you, you should get in touch with the Fortune Society. They are a halfway house, supportive housing. I'm a retired affordable housing civil servant. I've done supportive housing. They help people who come out of prison to give them job training and to be part of the society. It's called the Fortune Society. They're in Riverside Drive in Upper Manhattan. They would love to hear your stories. You and Peter, you should really contact them. It's called thefortunesociety.org. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, give